Howdy, folks. Well, today is the day. It is June 29th, 2020, which means it is the 1 year anniversary since I had a stroke. So, 1 year ago today, I walked into a hospital fully on my own power. I'd had symptoms of a stroke the night before. What I then learned were called transient ischemic attacks, but I had not yet had the stroke. I actually had the stroke after I got to the hospital. I thought I was going to go in for a few tests and maybe be there for a few hours. 6 days later, I came home from the hospital, basically an invalid. And I know some people hate when I use that term, but I really was. I could not do anything for myself. So a year ago, the stroke happened strangely in slow motion. Apparently, a clot formed, but it didn't completely block off blood reaching parts of my brain. So I lost my left hand and left leg and a little bit of my speech ability gradually over a period of 2 days. But a year ago today, at about this time, it's a little before noon, was the last time I was fully functional. I had my all the coordination and strength in my left hand, left leg. That also means it was the last time that I shaved or had a haircut. So back then, I really wasn't sure, right when I had the stroke, what I was facing. But as I began to see how my progress was happening and beginning to build confidence, I set this date as my commencement day. Today's the day I'm going to psychologically try to return to normal life, which means, sorry ladies, I know how you all love this my ZZ Top beard, but it's coming off today. I'm going to go get a haircut later this afternoon. So I'm going to do this video in 2 stages. This is kind of my retrospect, looking back on the past year. And then I'm going to get myself cleaned up and clean shaven, and we'll do another video on July 5th. That'll be the anniversary of the day I came home from the hospital, and you can see the new me. I'm now in what I call stage 3 of stroke recovery. I mentioned in the last video that I don't expect friends I don't want you to feel obligated to watch my videos and spend a bunch of time on these things, that I'm making them more to try to hopefully help people have some encouragement or understanding from somebody else who's going through this. But the real reason I started making these videos was what motivated me in the first place was to have something to look back on so I could kind of track my progress. And that's been wonderful. In the past couple of days, as the anniversary was approaching, I went back and watched some of my videos from 11, 10 months ago. And what a satisfying encouragement that is to see just how pathetic I was, shortly after the stroke. Stage 1, and the 3 stages for me, my view of stroke recovery, it's a lot like going from an infant, a newborn baby, to a functioning adult, because that's exactly what you're doing when you recover from a stroke, is relearning those very things that you learned as an infant. When you're a newborn baby, cannot do anything for them itself. We all understand that. They poop in their diapers, and let's be clear, I never pooped my pants. Be thankful for that. But I did need help just standing up and getting to a toilet. Somebody had to help me stand up from the bed, and then I would pivot and try to rotate on one foot, sit back down on a wheelchair. I couldn't push the wheelchair myself because my left hand, I didn't have a left arm, or I couldn't even grasp the wheel with my left hand. If I pushed the wheelchair, I'd just go around in circles because I could only push the right side. So somebody had to push me in the wheelchair into the bathroom, help me stand up from the wheelchair, pivot again, sit me down on the toilet. No way to live. So that was stage 1, to move from that level of utter incapacity to basic abilities. A baby being able to stand up, take its first few steps, the absolute basics. Stage 2 is progressing from the basics to what I would call functionality, being useful again, being able to button my own shirt, dress myself at all. I couldn't put socks on. I couldn't put my own shoes on. So that was stage 2. I went through stage 2 and then was released from they called it graduating from physical therapy back in November. So it's been 7 months, a little over 7 months, that I've been going along in stage 2. And then a lot of people call this the plateau stage, where you reach a level where progress is so slow, so gradual, that it's almost imperceptible kind of like a child. Once the child gets up and starts walking, and they begin into their being 5, 6, 7 years old, you don't notice progress. Something new. Every parent has the expert that every week. Oh my gosh, how did you learn to do that? Where'd you learn that word? But then they get into the level where progress is slow, but you measure their height every year, and oh my gosh, you grew 3 inches this year. So that's where I am now. It's what I call stage 3, what feels like the plateau stage where progress is so slow it's almost imperceptible. But that's one of the reasons I make these videos. I can go back and look at where I was a few months ago and realize I am continuing to make progress. Just for fun, you might get a kick out of this. So you ready? Check this out. See how long it's become? How do I look as a street person? In the back, it's actually long enough. I could put this in a ponytail if I really wanted to. So I'm really pretty shaggy. This is how I look when I wake up in the morning. I don't know. Okay. Time to move on and feel like a normal person again. This is fun, but it's time for a change. Oh. Ta-da! I know. Can you believe this adorable mug was hiding underneath all that gray beard and long hair? Well, here I am. I'm back. It's July 5th. So for the video, it's only been a matter of seconds since the first segment. But in real time, it's been 6 days since I recorded that first segment, and what a week it has been. So that first segment was on June 29th, which was 6 days ago. Last year, I spent those same 6 days in a hospital, and every single day, my condition just declined. I was just on a steep slope, getting worse and worse every day. This year, what a change a year has made, because every day this week, of the first week of July this year, I have been going up, getting adjusting back into normal life. So last week, after I filmed that last segment of the video, shaved the beard, went off and got a haircut, and I drove to go get a haircut. First time I'd had a shave or a haircut or driven a car in a year. And let me tell you, it was, I mentioned in the first segment, I was actually a little nervous about the whole process, even though it was just symbolic. But, in my mind, I had spent a year in my identity, my role in life was recovering from a stroke. I didn't have a job. Even though I was doing some freelance work from home, as I've described, I didn't really have a regular day-to-day activity. You don't appreciate just how much mental energy goes into your day-to-day life, even if you're not having a job, just doing laundry, going shopping, the basic things. Driving a car takes quite a bit of mental energy. When we came home after I went and got a haircut and, and the shaving the beard and all of that, there's a lot of mental energy that went into that. By the way, after not driving for a year, driving the car, it wasn't because of the stroke so much. I do have reasonable strength in the left arm for driving, using the turn signal, all the things that you do with your left hand when driving. It was just being out of practice. I was making my turns either too wide or too shallow. I was a little bit unsure coming to a stop. I was kind of jerky coming up to a stop sign. But that was just being out of practice. Because I've driven a few times since then, and already, very quickly I was coming back in. But the rest of the story is last Monday, after we came back home from getting a haircut and driving, I was so pooped I lay down and took a 2-hour nap. And then the next day we went out and ran some errands. I drove again, and I came home exhausted. We went shopping. I drove, did the shopping, pushed the cart, did all those types of things. I've been working out pretty steadily 3 times a week, so my physical energy is pretty good. It's my mental energy now that I need to get back. So the process of stepping back into a normal life, going from the mindset of being in recovery to being recovered, it really, as I described, it's a bigger psychological step than I had appreciated. And it's taken a lot of energy. Now, to clarify, I don't have a driver's license yet. So I've been driving without a license. If we got pulled over, Colleen was with me. So we would just tell him the story. I'm old enough to have been driving for quite a few years, the Department of Motor Vehicles in Texas is being very relaxed about people whose driver's licenses have expired. So I'm pretty sure we could have told them the story and they would have understood. Tomorrow, I actually go, we have an appointment with the coronavirus. You have to make an appointment to go get your driver's test. So I'm going to go tomorrow. Haven't done this since I was 16 years old, and actually take the driver's test. It's likely that the officer who administers the test wasn't born yet when I got my first driver's license. So that's going to be something. This is going to be my last video for a while. And now that, I've kind of slowed down making the videos. I've been doing them like every 4 or 5 weeks. And now I'm at the status where there's really, I'm still not fully recovered. There is a little bit of progress, but it takes, it's a month before I notice significant progress. Little things that I still can't quite do, like shaking your salt shaker. Like, that rigorous back and forth movement. I could do that with my right hand, but the left hand is still, I just don't have that fast, rapid coordination of muscle to shake a pepper shaker or something like that. I still have the trouble taking off a boot off my left foot. And putting on a boot is still clumsy, but I literally cannot take the boot off with my left foot. And part of it is I've realized that my hamstring is one of the muscles that was most affected by the stroke. That's where the spasms were, and that's where I have significant weakness to this day. And the hamstring is one of the muscles, if you can picture this as your leg, you're using your hamstring to pull the leg back while you pull the boot off. And I just, that pulling my foot out of the boot, I just don't need it. My leg literally cannot do that. But also the foot itself is contracting backwards, reverse. The brain has got a little misfire going on. So I'm telling you more than you care to know. Those are some of the minor things that are still not there yet. I don't think I could work a regular job yet. And that's a little bit disconcerting. I don't... Another thing that's very troubling, and then I sure hope will go away, is every single day I wake up just kind of glum, just a cloud of mild despair that it takes a good 30 minutes to an hour for me to just shake off, have my first cup of coffee, and I just go outside and sit on the patio, just kind of, what's my life going to become? Now, part of that, I'm sure, we're still in this coronavirus shutdown and all of the political strife that's going on around the world. All of us, I think, are a little troubled by the status of the way things are going. So I don't know how much of that to attribute to the stroke. I'm sure that's part of it, that my your emotions come from your brain. So let's hope that as I recover, that gets better. I used to wake up ready to take on the day, and now every day, almost every day, I just for the first 30 minutes to an hour after I wait, I have to kind of drag myself out of bed and try to shake off the cloud of just gloom, despair, a little bit of what's my life going to become. That's the update. If you are someone who's recovering from a stroke, this is my message to you. I know how lucky I have been to be this far along after just 1 year. Some people, I've been watching videos, I've been doing a lot of research about stroke recovery. Some people still don't have use of their hand or still can't even talk a decade after the stroke. I can imagine how lonely that must be. Talking, that's how we, interact with our loved ones and carry on. It's how you communicate with people over the phone. So losing the ability to speak has to be devastating. So my heart goes out to you, and I know how lucky I've been. By the same token, I do know that most people keep your hopes up, because most people can recover a lot of, if not all of, what they lost by continued effort and optimism. You have to believe that it's going to come back. So, hope you all are having a nice summer. Hope you had a nice 4th of July. And wish me luck on my driving test tomorrow. Hope I can do that parallel parking part. Okay, take care, and we'll talk to you next time.